I alone have lived beyond the reach of time, watching, ever vigilant, as the millennia marched past. I have seen oceans rise, continents shift, and mountains crumble. I have seen brother rise against brother, and the desolation it leaves behind. And always the great cycle continues, new life rising from the ashes of destruction. Now, after eons of watching, at last I too have become part of the cycle.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. Now, as you may have clocked from the title and what you're obviously seeing on screen, this is not your standard stock Vector Prime. He's rocking quite a significantly different color scheme, but this is the Galaxy Force version of that mold. And the fact that it's tied in with like the silvers and blacks and obviously the more dominant beige color scheme, I think it looks really kind of cool like this. But the thing that really kind of drives me crazy about this is that whoever had this before me, I don't know what the heck happened here, but these, little side solar panels or whatever are made of that soft sort of plastic and stuff. And I could have been working with a little bit to try and get it back in shape. And so the wings are all sort of been out of shape. But I think probably if I take my heat gun and make it a little bit more pliable, I might be able to straighten all these out eventually. But for right now, they're in a little bit of rough shape. Right now, what we are missing is his little Minicon partner, Safeguard. But anyway, he is meant to plug into Vector Prime right here. And so now Vector Prime can use his Minicon as a cannon above his head if he wants to do that. Now, something else that you might have noticed that we are missing is this little piece up here, which will become a little bit more important in robot mode. So you can see here he is with his fellow Prime Optimus, and to be honest, they're about the same length. In the show, they were about the same size anyway, so that's not too surprising. You can see how he looks there with Override, and I mean, he just absolutely dwarfs her. Here he is with old Scattershot, and you know what? That's actually about size appropriate. And then here he is with Jetfire in his Decepticon undercover identity as Sky Shadow. So definitely these boys in the Cybertron era, they were a lot bigger back in 5 and 6. Now, I actually was brought up in the show that he also traveled through time. So here he is with another time traveler, and you can see how he looks with old Gigawatt. I would kind of like to see maybe like a little bit of a animated movie where it had Gigawatt and Vector Prime, or maybe they were traveling to like different times, trying to like correct stuff. That'd be kind of cool. It'll never happen, but I just wanted you to see what he looked like with, again, a different time traveler. Back in the Cybertron days, the Cyber Planet Keys was the thing that, well, every one of them came with. And as you can see, Vector Prime's is unique in the fact that it has the symbol for Earth, Velocitron, the Jungle Planet, Gigantian, and even a tiny little Autobot symbol. Which I wanted to show you this with the Velocitron deal for the Speed Planet. It is the same exact symbol that we see nowadays on the packaging for those products from that little subline. We're going to take a look at Safeguard again, and as you can see, he has a pretty decent robot mode. And as an overall design, I've always kind of liked it. Of course, you could probably guess why. But to show you guys how he compares to more modern day smaller figures, here you can see. So anyway, I think it works out pretty well. And here is the Guardian of Space and Time in his actually really good robot mode. Again, we brought up this point in vehicle mode. This little side skirt piece that is the parallel, this is missing. But overall, I forget that it's not there most of the time. And I just dig the orange wings on his back. Now, this is more of the standard configuration that you can put them in. You can go kind of crazy, and if you want them to be really splayed out there, you can do that. But for me personally, yeah, I kind of like that. Now, if you guys notice when we turn around here, he does have the entire nose section of his vehicle mode on his back. And one of the reasons that I think that this might actually serve another purpose is if you fold down his wings like this, it kind of forms in conjunction with that little bit, kind of like a cape. And I kind of wonder if maybe Aaron Archer did that as a subtle homage to Alpha Trion, you know, being the one that wore a cape in G1. And even if it's not, most of the time you did see Vector Prime like this. So it's really just kind of whatever configuration you want to put him in. Now, if you've noticed, he is rocking a giant orange version of his sword. I'm definitely digging that. But as you also might have seen, it's got a slight bend to it because it is much like this plastic back here. It's just bendable and flexible. But even that, I mean, some of the small detail that was molded into the sword, I am just absolutely digging that. Plus the overall design of what looks like forearm armor on him, that's really awesome. And some of the details are accented in black, which helps them pop a heck of a lot more. That's really cool. I love the blues on the orb and the face. That pops really well because nowhere else on this figure is that blue. It's just in those two areas. And I always thought it was really cool how he could just literally mount Safeguard like he did in the show as basically a forearm weapon. So if somebody was getting ready to come up, he could just essentially just blap them if he wanted to do that. But Vector Prime, despite being an older character, he kind of got down in combat in the show. And one of the other things that I just absolutely love about his character was that he was voiced by the same voice actor that voiced Rhinox, Richard Newman.
Divert power from weapons array to field dampers. Maximum tolerance. Yes, Optimus, and that extra firepower may come in handy when you face Cybertron. But the black hole must be your first priority.
Which it was kind of funny because the guy that voiced Optimus was the same one that voiced Optimus Primal. So you had two voice actors that we had heard in somewhat of a different capacity as Optimus Primal and Rhinox, now being Optimus Prime and Vector Prime.
Not Tigatron, then. That's not his style.
No, he'll defend himself, but total destruction is against everything he believes in.
Autobot Commander Optimus Prime. It has been an honor working with you. The honor has been mine.
So coming back to the feature about the cyber keys, whenever you insert the cyber planet keys there, it makes both of, well, it's supposed to make both of his swords pop down. Now, some of these figures actually had electronics whenever their cyber planet key would be activated. Some of them didn't. Vector Prime is one of those. Let's see what happens whenever we plug in his. Listen. Did you hear that? Neither did I. Nothing happened. You see, he actually has a speaker right here. Despite that, with brand new fresh batteries, nothing happened. So that is kind of sad that the only feature that his cyber key activated doesn't work. It doesn't even have a pop-out special feature like we saw with Starscream. But you know what? Okay, fine. So here we can see Vector Prime getting to square off with Dirge, and he has Override as backup getting ready to square off against Starscream. I like how this looks. However, if we want to see something a little bit more interesting, here you can see how Screamer is facing off against Vector Prime, but it is kind of cool to see them squaring off with their blades out, ready to go at it, and man, it shows that even this figure, all these years later, is still awesome with his posing. So here is our boy with a bunch of former and current Cybertron figures, but I think that despite the amount of years between these guys and these guys, I think that aesthetically wise, it still works. Anyway, that was our look at Vector Prime. I hope you guys enjoyed the look at this sort of odd colored version, but I am very excited to have another one of the original 13 in such a grand robot form as we've seen. But with that being said, guys, until next time, we'll see you guys in another review.
I finally understand the true value of time. For it is the bonds between us that give time its meaning.